You're a strong woman. We've spoken many times here. I think there's a burnout factor that a lot of people have who have been here. I experienced it myself as a journalist. How are people doing mentally? Is morale? Obviously, it's not as high as the day, that final permit was denied by the former president. But how are people's spirits? Are there people angry that they're being asked to leave? Are people is there inner conflict? What's the spirits at the main camp as well as your camp?
At the main camp, I think there's a lot of confusion. People are very afraid of what happens to them. There are people who gave up their homes, their lives, their jobs to come here, and they have no place to go. At my camp, well, we stand. We are not going anywhere. Nobody can tell us to go anywhere, and we are standing.
And there's been whispers that they are even with Sacred Stone going to try to somehow take that land from you. Is there anything to that? Do they have any legal power to do so?
I've been talking with the attorneys because it is my land.
It's your father's land.
Yeah, it's my father's land. They cannot because I have a business in the North Dakota business license, and because I'm creating a culture camp, they cannot. Right now, we have the lawyers working on it, and that's all we can do.
Bigger picture, obviously, when water protectors were trying to convince the Obama administration, that was one fight. But the current president is a whole nother beast. And he's made it clear, I'm going to try to ram through every pipeline. And he was asked when he signed that memorandum, do you have anything to say to the Standing Rock Sioux tribe? And he just looked away, wouldn't respond. You see reports out that his people in his administration want to privatize reservations around the country. What do you think about him as a unique threat, and what is the response needed to combat? Not just President Trump, but everything he represents, because he's got millions of supporters.
We've been through this for 500 years. We're still here. And all we've ever did is put our hand out, welcome people, and we'll continue to do that.
Bigger than the pipeline, I think, since all the focus was on the pipeline, a lot got pulled away from just before the pipeline, the economic hardships of the tribe and tribes like it, the environmental racism and just the straight up racism that goes on. I did a little undercover video in Bismarck where the racism was on full display. When you see the president trying to ram through, refugee bans, not flat out denying a registry for Muslims, how do you view that as somebody who's been oppressed and, genocide against your people, economic genocides, just all forms of genocide? How do you view this president? I know you mentioned the empire. Do you think this is the time that more people need to stand up, whether it's here and in their communities? Because we know one thing about the man, he loves to be loved.
Well, Trump is going to be a new entity. Trump people need to pay attention to. For his policies are the same as Hitler's policies. This is history repeating herself. And so the people have to stand up now.
And I think what's interesting, because I like to call out the Democrats just as much as the Republicans, because a lot of people are fooled into thinking the Democrats give a damn. There weren't many leading Democrats, other than Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard. Were not many leading Democrats that lifted a finger when people were getting shot with tear gas and bullets and grenades and all sorts of things. They only did so when the president denied it. And then they were like, Mini Wachoni. Do you think in general all politicians have failed you?
Yes. I think that for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, we have been out there. We've been trying to talk with the government. We've had many of our chairmen out there talking to the government, and they have not listened. I remember going through the history of Josephine Gates Kelly, who hitchhiked all the way to Washington, D.C. to tell the people of Washington our plight here. And she stood out in front of the stairs at the Senate before they allowed her to come talk. And then we have repeated people who have gone over there and said, hey, you know, I have a hard time with thinking, because we have the highest armed services here. All of our family are noted military honored people. You know, we're code talkers. We're I was like, geez, my grandpa John was a Lakota code talker. My Uncle John was World War II. My dad was Korean. My brothers are Vietnam. All my cousins are Desert Storm, and we can just go all the way to all my relatives who are in. And I have a lot of family who are what they call lifetime service people. I still go back to the idea of we haven't done anything wrong. The only thing we did wrong is to live. We are not hurting people. We are not causing people any harm. And yet we live in a state that you see right now. This is the racism we lived with all of our lives. It's nothing new. The only difference is with this administration, it's okay to say it. It's okay to say they hate you. It's okay to say that they'll kill your family. I really have to pray for what's happening now. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know that we will not back down. We'll continue to stand in prayer.